today on the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast, my interview with Jane Aireton. She has a series of books that you can acquire on Amazon called Work It Out in a Week. Whether it be your weight or finances or Christmas, you can work it out in a week or at least begin. Now, you have to forgive me because I had a really long day and I went to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning and woke up really early to do this podcast. So I'm very sorry if my voice is a little bit ragged, but the information and the inspiration is awesome. So stay tuned. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast. I have this beautiful woman who is hanging out over in England, and I forgot the name of the island. It's not the Canary Islands, is it?
No, it's the Channel Islands.
There we go, the Channel Islands. So this is Jane Aireton, and she has written several books over the last 18 months that dictate some changes in your life that you can apply in a short amount of time, which is freaking awesome because, you know, people say, oh, lose weight in 90 days, lose weight in a year. No, she's got it, work it out in a week. This is an awesome thing, and that's what people need. How are you doing, Jane?
Well, it's really exciting. I started off by writing a book called Success at 60 Plus with a friend of mine, and I really got hooked because a lot of people are not fulfilling their potential, and my background is a nurse, and I saw a lot of people who are physically ill just because they felt trapped. Have you ever felt trapped?
I did, but I'm not married to her anymore.
Oh, right. People do get trapped not only by their partners, but by their circumstances, by money, by all kinds of things. And if you feel trapped, the next thing is that you become ill. So I looked at ways of untrapping yourself. And I'm one of these people who like to get to grips and do things, get a result.
That's good.
And I think it's really important to empower people to do this. So Work It Out in a Week was a really good idea, I thought. And I started off with money because I'm one of those people that wakes at 3 o'clock in the morning and starts worrying.
That's not good.
And I noticed from your the stuff on your Facebook page and so on that you're saying that money isn't the be all and end all, but we do need a certain amount. But what you said, and I completely agree with, is what you need. Anyway, I just thought I'm going to go out and sit in my garden shed because there I won't get disturbed. And I'm going to think about this, how I'm reacting to money. I'm an intelligent woman. Why am I like this? So I went out there and I started thinking about my attitude to money and how much I needed and exactly what you've been talking about. And I discovered there was a money monster there that was the one that came at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I thought, I don't need this. I really don't need this. All I've got to do is to sit down and work out a way so that, because it's a sort of cyclical thing, isn't it? That you worry about it and then you're so worried that you don't look at your bank statement and then it gets worse and worse. So I went right back to basics. I won't go on about it, but I worked it out in a week and I started solving the problem. So that's got rid of one worry. Then I thought about Christmas. And women tend to worry about Christmas because there's so much to be done. Again, start right at the beginning. Think about baby steps. Think about the things you've got to do. Write them all down. I give lots of ideas in my books, in my Work It Out in a Week Christmas book. Lots of recipes so that people don't have to think. They can just sit down, work out a plan and do it. And what to do with the people that come at Christmas that you'd rather they didn't.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. You know, one of the things about life is that most people don't realize that it's literally a journey. And sometimes you have to look down at the road and plan where your next step is. And that's what I really liked about your books. What made you get to the point where you said, I am going to concretely put this down and this is going to be my thing to share with the world because we all have something awesomely to share. Most people don't realize it. And that could be just your calling card and your passion. How did you just say, screw it, I'm going to do it?
Well, it was, I think when I went, it goes back to my first book, which was basically a workbook. And in that book, this is the one that I did, this was Success at 60 Plus. And I worked it as a workbook, and I just asked lots and lots of questions. First of all, the most important thing is making happiness a priority in your life. And I think you would completely agree with that, having read about you. And that if you just put happiness there, you can choose to be happy under any circumstances at any moment in time. And don't let other people tell you otherwise. So then you've made happiness a priority. My next question was, who are you? What sort of a person are you? And a lot of people don't actually sit down and really work out the sort of person they are. They're the people. I've always say, start where you are, not where you'd like to be. Because if you start where you'd like to be, you're not living in the real world. So start where you are, warts and all, what sort of a person. And where are you going? How can you get to where you want to go if you don't know where that is? So that's really important. And where are you now? And then you can put a plan together. So that's where all this started, really looking at what I wanted. And I wanted to write. I'd spent 15 years looking after all my old relations. I killed them all off. and now I've got some time. I mean, I was honoured and privileged to look after them. But, at the end of the day, when it's all done and dusted and done it's up to you to then take your reins and get to where you want to be. So that's where I started.
So let me ask you this question with your early success with children's television, or you were involved with children's television, did that lend itself to you being able to transition to what you do today?
Yes, I think it did. I just really enjoyed doing that with Elizabeth Beresford, who created the Wombles. Do you know about the Wombles in America?
Oh, no, we don't. I don't, but I'm 50 years old, so it might have been a different time.
Yeah, it might have been. I'm not that old. Yes, well, they're little creatures that go around picking up rubbish, and it was in the days before, the green thing, and people weren't so aware, and so it was a very famous thing in the UK, and so we worked together, and yes, it was. I've always wanted to empower people, and in that we chose a character called Bertie the Bat. And bats are quite an endangered species in the UK. What about in America?
America's a little crazy at the moment. It's crazy and calm at the same time.
But bats, the bats, the things that fly around.
Yeah. Our bats are pretty, I don't think they're endangered. Because actually people make nests for them here.
Oh, right. Yes, we've got some bat boxes as well. So yes, yes, I'm always interested in all those sort of things. So yes, it was interesting early on to do the children's television programme and get that off the ground. I used to travel around London with a 6-foot bat made out of fur.
I have a question for you because I couldn't figure it out. What is complementary therapy?
Well, mainstream therapy is like the doctors giving you chemical medicine. But there are all kinds of other ways that you can solve problems using the energy system. Do you have acupuncture in the States?
Oh, yeah. So we call it homeopathic here.
Well, but there's homeopathy, there's acupuncture. I use vibrational therapy. There's lots of other ways of dealing with it in ways that are not intrusive and that don't have side effects. So that's what I'm interested in.
So are you referring to Reiki as well?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, that's a very, very powerful method of healing.
Yeah, it was just my own ignorance. I had never heard of it referred to as complementary therapy. And I said, I'll ask her because you're a very interesting person. And I was just looking at all the things you've done. And you and I are kindred spirits where we're always looking for the next thing for us to learn and to do, which I found so awesome with just looking at your books, looking at your website and your blog. So I have a question. How can people contact you to find out what you're doing and about your books?
Well, thank you for that. I've got a website which is success spelt as SUCC, however you spell success, 60 in figures and plus written plus.com. So that's success60plus.com. That's my website. And I'm at success60plus on Twitter. And so, yes, people can do that. And if they want to look at my books, Work It Out in a Week is a nice way of remembering it. You can stick that into Amazon, either in the UK or in America. So, yeah, that's where my books are. But I'm just so excited to be able to talk to somebody in America when I'm sitting on a little rock in the middle of the English Channel. I just think that's awesome, and to connect. And I love the enthusiasm that comes from the Americans that I've met.
Really?
Yes, I love Americans. I think they grab life by the scruff of the neck, and they really enjoy it, at least the ones that I have. And I know that you have, because of the way that you've got this going. And have you got a lot of interest in the States for your billionaire lifestyle?
It's taken about a year for me to get the ideology together, to get my elevator speech together, because I'm kind of all over the place. And I had to narrow everything down and figure out the path that I wanted to go. I wanted to figure out my journey. So I've started this journey, and one thing is, I feel with my whole heart, you have to help people. You have to be there for someone. And for me to reach out to people like you who are doing great things, in your own life, that's worth billions to me. And then any fruit that bears from there, I'm good. I'm happy, and I'm healthy, wealthy, and wise.
Well, I love that. And I loved the fact that you've got really interesting people. I've been listening to some of the podcasts. Was it Zozo?
Yeah.
The one with and I had to laugh because he was talking about a small town with 40,000 people.
That's
on
right.
our island, we have 1,600 people.
Well, that's the city from where I live. I live in this small Indiana town, and I moved from a major metropolitan area, Detroit, Michigan. And I moved to this really, we call it downtown Disney. Like John Cougar Mellencamp talks about, I was born in a small town. This is a small town. Everyone knows everyone.
Well, 40,000 is huge. So we do all know each other on the island, that's for sure.
Yeah. But I want to ask you some other things as well. So where is Cornwall to a Yank like me? I saw that.
Oh, Cornwall is in the southwest of England, and that's where my boys live. Well, they're men now, they've got children of their own. But now that's quite interesting because I want to go over and I want to spend part of the year near them. And there's a movement that has come from the United States to the UK, which is tiny houses.
Yes, it is so awesome.
And I'm so excited about this, and I'm going to build one next year. Because the poor boys, that means I can follow them wherever they go, you see, in my tiny house on wheels. But I love this idea because in America, we always think from the UK that the Americans have everything bigger than everybody else. But now you've got things that are smaller than everyone else. And what really struck me when I looked at the tiny house idea was that the people who were building tiny houses were not doing it because they didn't have the money, but because they wanted to spend time doing other things other than looking after their real estate. And that resonates with me so well. And just reducing the number of possessions you have. And that fits in with your business about the billionaire lifestyle. And that life isn't about what you have, it's what you give.
My wife, who is 17 years younger than I am, she's so emotionally wise, it's beyond belief. And one of the things she always says to me, she says, she's like, enjoy experiences, pay for experiences, not things. She's like, you pay for the things you need, don't pay for just the things you want. pay for the experience. You have to, that's what life is about, is the experience. And if more people understood it's about the experience and looked at Maslow's hierarchy of needs,
absolutely.
They would just really understand the billionaire lifestyle in a nutshell.
Brilliant. Well, I haven't actually talked about my latest book yet.
Let's do that.
Which is about New Year's resolutions. And that, to me, it was the most difficult one to write, and it was also the most interesting, because a lot of us make New Year's resolutions and most of us don't keep them. So I wanted to look at why we didn't keep them. And so often we say, oh, well, I'm not going to bother because I can't do it. Well, the answer is you can. So in a nutshell, first of all, I looked at, if you're going to say, you mentioned about losing weight. If you just start on a diet today, lettuce leaves and a glass of water, you'll fail. What you have to do is go into it gradually, but do tiny little baby steps. So reduce your portion size, and then you can start and do the next step, which is maybe having shakes or doing something different, or you might be doing juicing or whatever like that. So you did say that I'd said that you could lose all your weight in a week. That isn't quite correct. If you did, you'd be in big trouble. But in actual fact, if you take your New Year's resolution in baby steps, you get there. Now, the other thing, there was an American, and I can't remember his name, but he had this really good idea of a chain. And every day, for example, if you're doing weight loss, if you do what you set out to do that day, you put a chain on your calendar for that day, a link. And then the next day, you put another link when you do it. And you really don't want to fail, because you don't want to break that chain. Every day you put a link on it. And if you link what you want to do with something you already do, for example, running. I've taken up running, a bit late in life, but I've taken it up. And so what I do now is when I get up, I put my running shoes on. We all have to get up. We all have to put shoes on. If you put running shoes on, you look a bit stupid if you're not going running. So what do? You go running. Then you come back and you take them off and you put your link on the calendar. And I've got this link going and I really, really don't want to break it. And that's a brilliant way of getting where you want to go.
That is true.
And the other interesting thing that I discovered was that willpower. We say, oh, we haven't got any willpower. Well, actually, did you know where your willpower is in your brain?
No, where?
Behind your forehead. In your prefrontal, yeah, that's right, prefrontal cortex of your brain. And it's really interesting because it's best in the morning, because that prefrontal cortex does all kinds of other things during the day, short-term memory and all kinds of other things are going on. And willpower gets pushed to the end of the line. So it's really nice to think, well, I actually do have willpower, and if I use it first thing in the morning to get those things done, I'll get them done. And it's so true. Because if you just say, oh, people say to me, oh, I haven't got any willpower. Well, yes, you have, but you don't use it at the right time. If you leave it till the end of the day, there's no space for it. So, of course, do it first thing in the morning and you've got it done. Now, don't you think that's brilliant?
That is brilliant, because when I do things first thing in the morning, first of all, it's quiet, I can focus, and I'm right there getting done, whether it be lifting weights or writing something down. That first thing in the morning, that is a good, best way to start your day.
I bet it wasn't a very good thing first this morning, but most mornings.
Yeah, I had a couple pints for those of you who don't know. I had a lot of pints, actually.
But then this is the thing, you can make that choice. You know, if you have that choice, you know the next morning you won't be going running, but the day after you will be. So, you know.
Yeah, and it's easy. I find it best to get things done in the morning. It helps me to actually start the day, because then I get up with a zest. If I know, particularly if it's pre-thought, if I think the night before, hey, I have something to do in the morning, it's just like I have to get up and go to work. Well, that's not a good example. But when I have something to do, that is the best time to make that effort, which is in the morning, and you're correct.
So those are some of the things that I really enjoyed about my writing this particular book.
Do you have a copy of it so I can see it?
Well, I haven't got a copy of that one, but I've got the other two. The Christmas one, and that one, that's the money one.
So work it out in a week.
Work it out in a week. They're all work it out in a week. And if you go on Amazon, then they're all there. And so you'll get the changing your habits, because basically New Year's resolutions are changing your habits. And I've really proved it. I've been practicing, ready for New Year. And it really, really does work. And I'm so excited, because I was one of these people who made these great claims of what I was going to do. And I didn't break it down and do it a bit at a time. And as you go forward, each step, you cement your resolve and you get the results.
So let me ask you something. Are you on the speaking circuit yet? Because you have the most charming presentation.
I've done some and not a lot.
Well,
but thank you very much indeed.
That's probably your next area you can go into, because you're such a charming person.
Well, that's very nice of you to say that. But, you know, I've really enjoyed being interviewed by you, because I think that we actually resonate. You've got this feeling for empowering people, and it's so exciting when it happens.
Yeah, that's the one thing that if I could convey to people is it's not about what you can take, it's about what you can give. Because if you give enough, everything that you need will be taken care of.
Absolutely.
I just can't, express it enough. So, Jane, what do you have a Twitter handle?
Yes, at success 60 plus.
At success 60 plus, and the 60 is the number 60, correct?
That's right. Yeah. Well, and I love Twitter because it's so immediate. And you're getting feedback from people all the time, and there's some brilliantly inspirational and motivational people out there to follow, and who are following me, and we're swapping things all the time. And that, if you've got that going on, if you wake up in the morning, you turn on the radio and listen to all this negative stuff, then that sets your tone for the day. If you wake up and you're empowered, you're invigorated, as you say, if you've got a plan for the day and you're doing things for other people, it's completely different.
Yes, that's true. Well, I know you have a lot to do today. What I want to do is I want to give you this invitation. My door is always open to you. So if you come to America or you just want to talk, because I will record every word, the invitation's right there for you.
Do you know, that's the nicest thing that's happened to me today? And I'm on the end of my day, so that says something. Thank you so much, Emmett. I have enjoyed this so much. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed meeting you, Emmett.
Thank you. Have an awesome day.
And you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.